So I'm just gonna start with what I see on my timeline the most. When Hulk Hogan came out, what was your reaction?
Brother, get this guy out of here. He stinks. Insert meme. Get him out of here, bro. No shot.
Are
And
you
then he's only
surprised?
there. He's
Are
only
you
there
sur-
to cut a promo anyways, but it's like the worst. It was the worst like promo. Like
Can we
all
call it that?
American beer. Like,
Can we call it that?
I mean, yes, you just put it on a shirt. It'd probably sell inside the arena, no bullshit. People would buy it. Worst American beer promo. Like
Were you
the promo
surprised
was
that the
made.
audience booed him?
No, no. I mean, it's Hulk Hogan. Like that man flip flops. I mean, he jumps in and out of pockets like he'd change his clothes in the morning. So, not at all. Not even a little bit. I'm
Okay,
honestly surprised they had him out there trying to move because, bro, he like you can tell wrestling has done him no favors, and I don't mean that in the aspect of like the fact that he they wouldn't do anything for him later on, but just the fact that like his body is so broken down, bro. I was talking about it when we were watching it, like that man is trying to do the
the
like the
arms and shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the leg, his arm can barely go like to his head. His knee won't bend anymore, so he's just like stiff legging it, and he's like barely trying to turn around without losing his fucking equilibrium and balance and falling over on the stage. It's like it's too much. You know what I mean?
but just with him in general, like obviously the leg drop move is very damaging to your body after a while. Like I would
Oh
never.
yeah, bro, your back is toast. Your back is like super toast.
Emily, like from the era that he wrestled in, niggas was known for dying in their 30s. So
No,
him making it
legitimately.
this long
But
is kind of a
that
medical
was I
miracle,
was
though.
more like I wouldn't just say it was that. I would say it was also roids back then. It was a lot of stuff, right? It wasn't just like the wrestling that was killing them. It was the drugs, the partying, the roids. Everything was more hardcore back then. They had to do way more to themselves to be something outlandish because the average working man back then, you're talking about people who were in like coal mines, bro, steel mills. Like, they were working at like paper factories. Like seeing somebody get mutilated was a part of the daily routine wherever you were. You know what I mean? Nowadays, when something happens at work, they're like, "Oh, go get the safety kit or notify the hazmat manager." You know what I'm saying? Back in their day, there was none of that. Bro, if acid hit your face, they'd be like, "Okay, drive yourself to the hospital." You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? Like, hey, get in the truck. You know what I mean? Get up there, get checked out. When you
But I'm
come,
saying that's why I'm
hospital report.
saying him even being alive at this point is impressive.
Yeah, true.
Because
But
I'm
you also
surprised,
could
yeah,
say he was of his era, right? Of wrestlers era, he was one of the most taken care of at a point in time.
oh yeah, for
Because
sure,
he
like
was,
bigger than life, yeah.
yeah, he made, I mean, even from the cut ups on the McMahon shit, right? Like he changed the way people thought about wrestling on a fundamental level across the world. Like we're not just talking about the United States.
The
We're talking about
world, Craig.
Japan. We're talking about Mexico. All these places, bro, changed their outlook. Right? Everything like before we had heroes and heels, right? But everything turned into the hero versus heels going forward. Like everything.
And also, like we only had like a handful like faces of the company. He for sure had the longest reign as the face
No,
of
absolutely,
the. So like
100%.
that is crazy. And
As a
so
singular person, yes, I would say because you can't even like if you go into the Attitude Era, right? You can't talk
Stone
about
Cold would be the face.
but you can't talk about Stone Cold without talking about The Rock, without talking about Triple H, without
You're
talking about
saying, oh, there was not a close second to him.
yeah. There's not a close second because whenever you look across the rest of the eras of wrestling, I'm talking about from like let's say like 1990, right? Let's say from 90 to 2010. When you think of one person, you think of their matches with every single like the people they were paired with, right? Like like he always said in the documentary, your hero is only as good as your villain. If the villain is trash, nobody cares about the hero's storyline. You know what I mean? But the more evil, the more psychotic and outrageous the villain, the better the climb of the hero, which is what made like The Rock and Stone Cold so polarizing to so many people because no matter how you looked at it, they were both good guys and bad guys. You know what I mean? The Rock played a bad guy role. He played the heel, but he was also the people's champ. You know what I mean? So you wanted to root for the dude because you're like, oh shit, like he's so sick. He was talking slick on the mic. He had the charisma, the crowd, right? But then Stone Cold comes in and he's the fucking I don't give a shit, the badass, the I'm gonna do what I want to, I'm gonna say what I want. Oh, you don't like this? Well, this is what I like. So if you don't like it, well, you know what I mean?
So yeah, when you contextualize it, now I'm thinking about it. Like the generation that Hogan was in, he really didn't have much competition. Like in that
No,
aspect, like compared
bro, his one. What did
to
they
that
say on the
generation, yeah.
show? His one,
Well, we talking
his
like
his one big fight was him and Andre, and they
yeah.
had to pull Andre. They had to pull Andre out of fucking retirement. Andre at the time already at that time could barely move. Like I don't know if you remember the
Yeah, because
documentary.
he was in Hollywood. Yeah, he was in
Yeah, bro,
Hollywood at
he
the
was
point.
talking about how he had already like transitioned out, like he was going to do movies and shit. His body was breaking down on him, and I mean, even being at that size, right? You can only imagine the decline once he left wrestling was swift. You know what I mean? It's like throwing a boulder down a mountain. Like that's just rolling continuously from all the hits he took. All because you know they made him do crazy shit. You know what I mean? You're Andre the Giant. Like you can take this. So it's like I can only imagine how bad his body was and how decrepit he felt. And then to have him come back solely for the aspect of playing into Hogan's hero is like, it just elevated Hogan to a whole nother stratosphere. He was already up there, but then, you know what I mean? Bro, they
But
turned,
saying you're saying how exactly how big. I feel like most of the population still, at least I thought, view Hogan in that same light. I think people who are chronically
true.
online know how
Yeah.
Hogan gets down, and they would. I didn't expect like most of the arena to be booing the nigga. Like I'm thinking, like
I
it's.
mean, but you're in California, bro. What you expect? We don't roll like
I
that
mean,
here. You know what I
the
mean?
niggas cheered Undertaker.
That's true, but I mean that's
So
Undertaker, bro. Everybody get down with Undertaker. That's you know what I mean.
he's
Everybody get
not. He
down with
ain't that
Undertaker.
far off. Now Hogan done did crazier shit, but he
Yeah,
ain't that
yeah,
far off. The same shit came out about the Undertaker, him doing the similar shit. I wouldn't be surprised, bro. Like
yeah.
that's huh.
Mm,
Undertaker's super MAGA, so I'm like, if he was to if some shit come out about him doing some racist things or having some statements, I wouldn't be too surprised. I'm to get it.
I
We're
don't
in
know, bro.
LA, so they're very liberal. So
He's too close with like Mark Henry and them. Like even with the MAGA shit, right? He's too close with Mark Henry and them to be on like some extra
race,
extra racist shit. You know what I'm saying? He
yeah.
might be on some borderline shit where he might say some shit that toes the line a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he kind of cracks the door open, but it ain't like a full on fucking SWAT fucking invasion like Hogan is. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah,
Like
it is a stark
yeah.
difference. Yeah,
Plus, not
like
only that, but you're never gonna find nothing on you're never gonna find nothing on Undertaker that's fucking televised. Like that's what fucked Hogan from the get go was the fact that
and
not
you're right.
only did you
Something would have came out about Undertaker by
yeah,
now.
yeah. You said these things. Not only did you say this shit, but you said it on television, bro. He said it when he what the fuck was his show? They were on that show. His family,
We talking
his
about
whole
his reality
family.
show.
Yeah, bro.
Hogan knows best. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I remember the
Hogan knows
show.
best. Yeah, yeah,
I remember
yeah,
the
yeah.
show, bro.
When he broke down his daughter, bro. I was like, no
Yeah,
shot,
but
no shot.
I think that the company of WWE thought it would be a better reception because optic wise, it
Yeah,
does
yeah,
not
yeah.
look good for a nigga who's a bigger sponsor to be booed like that. That was not the intended
Hey,
purpose,
what
bro.
did Vince McMahon say? He said heat level sell, right? He said heat level sell, right? Hey, bring out the heat. Bring it out. Oh yeah, I like that. They booing you. Hey, that means you got the heat. Bring his ass back. That's right.
Now I
He
don't
made a
know.
living off it.
Now for the episode in general, I don't know when's the last time you watched like an episode of Monday Night Raw or
But
somebody
I
who
haven't watched
has.
Raw, and it has literally been, I want to say, at least since 2000, and I would say like 8 or 9 since I watched a full
So at
length.
least 15 years. At
Yeah, at least
least.
15 years. At least 15 years.
So what is your reaction to watching it after that time? Like what
Mm,
has changed? Has it been good? What are the good and bad changes that you've noticed?
okay, you want my full on, like, okay,
It,
I'll go
yeah.
section by section.
You
All
do
right.
good and bad, yeah.
Okay, so good. I would say that the presentation is at an all time high. I think that have the way that they have reintroduced classic storylines, or the way that they are pushing characters, has evolved in a way that it's a lot more seamless than it was back in the day. It's a lot easier to digest. Like, you don't need to be like, as someone who hasn't watched in 15 years, right? I don't
Are you
need to
referring to
watch.
like the flashbacks that they'll do
Yeah, yeah,
to like catch
like
you up to speed? Okay.
yeah, yeah. So it's not just like I watched last week's episode, right? So for me to be able, as a fresh eyes, to watch an episode and feel like I can pick up and I kind of feel the beef between people, even though I haven't been watching the last 10, 12, 15 years, feels like you're doing your damn job as writers. Feels like the dialogue is going in a direction to where it's easy to follow, it's easy to digest. You clearly have a feel for who you want to be right, who you don't care for, or you don't mind that they're wrong. And it was genuinely very smooth. Like, it was very, very smooth. I said it from the intro. You heard me. I'm like, damn, this intro is kind of marvelous. Like, I'm fucking with these graphics. I like the presentation. Triple H on the mic to start the event out, to get you a little hyped up, right? Because he's not only is he the main guy now, but
the
you got that
government
classic feel.
the government mandated Triple H intro,
Yeah, yeah. You
yes.
got that classic feel, right? Like,
Yes.
he's doing his best
Yeah.
Vince McMahon impersonation in terms of like being the first face when you turn on the show. This is who you
Yeah.
see. This is who introduces you.
He's called this the Triple H era. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. So I mean, I'm not mad
I
at
get
it.
it.
Like,
I get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if anybody's gonna push the boundaries and give us truly good, like good to great wrestling again, the man that learned at the feet of someone else, that gave us pivotal years in wrestling history, is a good man to turn to. You know what I mean? He's a good man to turn to. Now, you can say what you want about Vince off or like outside the ring. That's a completely different animal and like a horrible human being and person. But when it
Yeah.
came to the wrestling side, he
Nigga.
provided us some of the
Gen-
craziest entertainment,
he
bro.
was a genius. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Genius.
yeah. He was literally, he thought so far outside of the box that he was light years ahead of anybody chasing him.
Now he
And this,
went out in like an Al Davis
yes,
fashion with his
yeah, yeah, yeah.
decisions that he was
No,
making.
one thousand percent.
Even
Yeah, one
before
thousand
the
percent.
outside shit, the way his TV was looking, there was a lot of
Yeah,
complaints about his decisions. They're like, bro, like, come on.
yeah.
But in his
He
prime
held
though,
on. He
yes.
obviously held on to the reins too long, right? He didn't want to pass it off. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to take a back seat in terms of something he built. But I don't even get mad at him for that, because if you think about it, right? And exactly, you compared him to Al Davis, right?
Yeah, he could
Davis
be him
started
and
on
Jerry
a
Jones.
lot, bro. They're so fucking similar. It's kind of crazy, because Davis was giving shots to people who nobody else wanted, right? In African American and minority players. He gave coaching staff slots to those people that then changed the game, right? Now all of a sudden we're looking at O-line coach, D-line coaches. You don't have to be white. You don't have to be Italian no more. You don't have to have like German roots in like wrestling championships and shit. Like, we can go out and get ex-players that did it at a high level and then turn them into great coaches. Like, we can then teach from this tree. We can take people that are more respected among their peers. Because you give me a 60-year-old white dude who's screaming at me, telling me what to do, and I don't fucking understand that shit. You know what I mean? It don't faze me. Like, okay, you're yelling, great. Now you insert fucking Ray Lewis into the same situation, and he's like, "Hey, look, you ain't got your head on straight. You're not studying film the right way. You're not going about your business the right way. You're not taking care of your body the way you should." All of a sudden, the narrative shifts. Right? You go from being a coach and a disciplinarian to an actual fucking advisor, right? To an actual a mentor. The roles just completely switch.
And
It's
then
the same
okay,
thing
and
with
then
Triple
also
H.
when you're like a trailblazer, like or like a maverick, like we
Yeah,
said, Al Davis
yeah,
and Mr. McMahon, you've been right on so many crazy things.
bro.
When
Not
people
just
try to
crazy.
advise you different, you're like, nah, y'all been telling me not to do this.
No, no, no.
So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna stay
exactly.
doing
Not just that, right? You got to think
opposite.
about the shit that they were right about was light years beyond anything that people around them could comprehend, right? And not only was I right about it, but I was so right. My business is a beyond successful, right? We're little kids. When I go out to eat food with my family, or I go out to eat with my wife at a fucking Denny's, or we go to a steakhouse that's $300 a plate, there might be a little kid sitting in the corner that's playing with WWF wrestlers, right? He might have on a fucking Stone Cold t-shirt. Somebody might be having a D-Generation X pin on their jacket or their fucking backpack. Like, you know what I mean? Someone could have socks on that say Nature Boy on them, bro. Like literally, it they're they pushed so much in their own direction that people have tried to mimic them for years. And, i.e., Jerry Jones, right? All he does is try to
Easy to
mimic
say.
what Al Davis does, but he's never hit. He tried it with Romo, it didn't work. He tried it with Dak, it didn't work. He tried it with CeeDee Lamb, it didn't work. He tried it with Zeke, it worked for a little bit, but it ain't worked since. Like,
And
how
then
much, you
then
know what I mean?
like since I've been a lot like he's caught a lot of critique, but seeing his run in the '90s, I get why he's like that. I
Mm-hmm,
completely
mm-hmm,
understand. And
yeah,
you you can't really fault a nigga like that
no,
much. It's hard to give up the reins after
bro.
you've done some incredible shit to that
Exactly.
level. Like
And they're all in that boat, right? You have him with Emmett, you have him with you got Emmett, you got Michael Irvin, you got Aikman and them, right? Then you add in Larry Allen and some of the other people that he had, right? Dez, Tony Romo, Jason Witten, DeMarcus Lawrence, like he had hits over the years, right? Hits over the years. Then you go to Al Davis, right? Everybody that he picked up, bro, from even from what was the old dude they used to call crazy? Laszlo.
what position?
He was like a DN slash linebacker, just like back in the early
Lonzo?
'80s. Yeah, Lonzo or Laszlo. They called him a legit psychopath, and Al Davis was like, "That's fine. Everybody needs one crazy person on their team," and literally turned that motherfucker
Uh,
into a stud and a stalwart on defense. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
brother,
It's when all these mantras, you know what's up.
yeah,
Stick 'em, all that good shit. Come on, bro.
he legitimately changed the way that people looked at the game, right? Now we're not just taking everybody that's a blue collar player or that has all these steady game stats. Now we're reaching for dudes who have high athletic ability with projected upside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this be the and obviously like throughout the end of his run, he was criticized because like, bro, you only
Yeah,
looking at 40 times. But I'm like, bro, as a nigga who would play Madden, the Raiders are always cheating because we have the most 90 speed players. Like, why the fuck is everybody this
bro.
fast?
At
And it
every
was crazy.
at every
Nigga,
position, bro.
like Mike Mitchell was a second round pick. Nigga was like, what the fuck are y'all doing? But nigga, he fast as fuck. You ain't never seen a safety this fast.
Yeah.
But
You had
he can,
yeah, it's
but you know it's that when you're at the end of your tenure, you can kind of catch on to the patterns that these niggas
yes.
like. Because if
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
compare it to Vince McMahon, he likes a certain body type with his people that he puts as the face of the company. They have to have that certain look.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And like this rest of shit, sometimes you get the force feeding and the fans
Yes. Yeah.
reject it. Like
Mm-hmm.
Roman has been the face of WWE for like the past 5 years, right? But the entire 2010s, Vince was trying to force Roman on the crowd, and people just kept rejecting it.
Yeah, yeah.
He had the vision, he just didn't was not able to execute. So I'm like, his mind is still sharp in certain aspects. It just don't always It's all it doesn't work out because something is
Oh
off,
yeah,
like
bro.
something
It's
with
just
his
like
judgment's
them.
off. But you still got the mind for like Jerry. He probably still got the mind. He got mind for like a lot of shit. He's not just dumb. He didn't lose his knowledge, but you just don't want to take advice from nobody else. You're just
Bro,
stuck in
it's
your
just like
ways.
when you hit that many home runs, right? How do you tell yourself to just put down the bat, right? Like sooner, if I know that every fucking curveball, every curveball you throw at me, I've hit a home run on my whole career, from little league to major league, right?
And not just that,
And
man. Niggas who never hit a home run are telling
yes,
me what to do. You will go
yes, yeah,
insane. You
yeah,
know you will
yeah,
go
yeah.
insane. Like,
Yeah. Not only
no,
that,
bro.
your batting average has never been above 200, bro, and you're yelling at me, telling me not to swing. But I know in my heart that eventually someone's gonna throw me a curveball, and I'm gonna hit that fucking 901. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go up. What you
So I
need?
mean, like
I'll get
Triple
it for you.
H don't. I hope he don't end up like this, like what we
Give me one
describing.
second. Give me 1 second. Oh, I got it. Oh, Joseph. Here, fella. Yeah,
So
it's
I'm saying, I hope he don't have the same demise. But like
no,
you
I
said,
don't think he will.
all
I
right.
think because with Triple H, I don't see it following that way because one, he had to watch it firsthand with Vince, right? So first and foremost, like he's automatically thinking of that in the back of his mind. But now his game plan has also altered because of the way I think that Vince went out and all the stuff that happened, everything that came out afterwards. I think he's so focused on rebuilding the brand in a bigger and better direction. I mean, bro, they're on Netflix. Like we just had our first Netflix live wrestling event, which were like, if you'd have told 13, 14-year-old me that fucking 16 years from now, 18 years from now, we're going to have wrestling on our phones and we can just walk around and watch it anywhere I'm at, right? I don't got to be at home at 5 o'clock to eat dinner and turn on the fucking TV. I could go party with my friends or whatever the fuck I'm into, or be at a restaurant or something, flip my shit on and not miss a moment of it. Like, bro, it's wild. And he accomplished
Yeah,
that
I'm
all
surprised
on the
though.
backs of all the stuff they did.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I didn't notice how popular this shit was like throughout like the 2010s. Like, and I guess that
Mm.
was like they low spell, and like a little bit after the pandemic is when I noticed the popularity increasing a lot. I'm just like, well, let me see what's going on, and seeing like a lot of the choices they've been making, and I guess you could say the presence of AEW helped it,
Yeah, yeah,
which was very necessary because I blame WCW being out of business as a big reason why, in the end, WWE started to fall off a lot. You need a
no, one thousand
competition.
percent, bro. Exactly.
After
What?
that, that's another reason why Vince was like that. WCW almost put WWE out of business,
No, yeah.
and
Eric
they
Bischoff.
overcame that shit. And
Eric Bischoff literally had this full on the ropes to the point where he was calling Vince to try to buy the company from Vince. And then Vince was like, no, I'm gonna make you eat your own words. He's like, give me 3 years. And they killed him off in 3 years, bro. He was like fucking Moses telling people, I'm gonna part the sea. They was like, nah,
and
we don't
absorbed
believe you.
everything.
Yes, bro.
WWE Studios did the Who Killed WCW documentary. Like, this is so
Bro.
crazy. So like, yeah, Triple H has been doing a great job, but like also just the presence of the AEW.
Yes,
It's
AEW
influenced,
is
yeah.
necessary 1000%. Because if you don't have that extra league that's going all out, right? Then
No
like,
pun intended.
yeah, no pun intended. But if you don't have that extra league that's taking it to the nth degree, right? And pushing people up, you don't have like a pipeline. You know what I mean? Imagine for instance, we both love football. Imagine if there was no college football. So all you had on TV was the NFL, right? Then every year when a new guy came in or a rookie, you'd be like, well, where the fuck did this dude come from? You wouldn't have no hype. There'd be no hype to Kyler Murray. There'd be no hype to fucking to Saquon Barkley's, to the Marvin Harrison Juniors, to the Odell Beckhams. None of that shit would exist because they would just be a guy on a team and you'd be like, oh, that dude made a good catch. you wouldn't have none of this precursor, prelude story buildup to what turns them into heroes and villains in the league. You need that. It's absolutely pivotal. Even back in the early 2000s, the late 90s, early 2000s, right? AEW had Van Dam, they had Taz, they had hella people, bro. And you would literally flip channel to channel going through wrestling programs. AEW would
that
stop
was
you
fun.
in your tracks,
That's
bro.
funny because ECW and WCW ended up being absorbed by WWE. So
Yeah,
that is
and
just
he got both of them.
that is just like hilarious. But like that's why I know people get very tribalistic online about WWE and AEW, but AEW needs to be successful to keep this trajectory of WWE going. Because you say like the good thing, the presentation is better than it's ever been before. Is there anything else besides like the presentation that would
Oh,
stick out to you?
women's division as a at an all time
Oh
high.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm mad that
I
I
don't
missed the
think
women's revolution like
yes
in the
in the
2010s.
history of wrestling, and I'm not just saying this from a visual aspect as a male, that women have never been as athletic as they are right now in wrestling. They've never been as talented on the microphones. The storylines are fucking heat. You have like the back and forth between so many of the big stars, and it's so crazy because I think obviously like Rhea and them, and like you got like you have Rhea and them at the very top, right? But there are so many women that are like nipping at her heels in terms of like what they bring to the table that it's like outrageous that
Yeah,
we get
like
so it's crazy we
I
get
would
so
have
little
never,
women's matches, bro.
dude. Like
Like
when
literally.
I was a kid, like obviously we know like they wasn't getting no time. Just
Yeah,
to
no, not like that.
even add context, because there were a handful of women wrestlers who could hoop. You just would never know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
there were a
Yeah,
couple stories where, like, I think one included, I think it was like Michelle McCool and Melina. Obviously, the women they didn't have much time for their matches either. So it
yeah,
was like a 7-man match. They was doing some crazy shit one time. They got yelled at after the match by Vince because they did too good. And I'm
yeah,
like,
bro.
don't try to show them. I'm like, so not only is like being objectified, like there's treated as sexual objects, but you don't get much time to do it. And then when you do get the time, you can't
No,
do too
no, when
much
yeah,
and
yeah, when you do
upstage
it,
nobody.
when you're too good at your job, you get yelled at like, "Hey, yo,
Tone that
no,
down.
no, 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 no. We told you to throw boxes. You're throwing too many. Slow down. You're making us look bad." That's what it was, and
Like,
it's
bro,
crazy that
that's
that's
crazy.
literally it's crazy that that was literally the thought process because at that time, right, he only wanted one solo star. Like he wanted one star to prop up the Hulk Hogan effect, and then he wanted people to put in front of him as dominoes to like slowly overcome and build up. But I think that's where he fucked up. That was his biggest downfalls, and um, in that process of trajectory, he never adjusted his formula. He kept his formula the same, and I think that's what cost him in the end. That's why they had that
I
lull
think
because
you could apply it to
yeah,
yeah, a lot of
because
people.
people got bored of the shit because we've seen it for like 20 something plus
And
years,
also
right?
I mentioned Roman, like, but before Roman, John Cena was the face for years. You
Yeah.
hear how much people love John Cena now. There were
Mm-hmm.
plenty of years where the most chant that you heard was "Let's go Cena." Cena sucks. They felt like
Mm-hmm.
John Cena was getting force fed. People were so done. And I look back at old shit during John Cena's prime. I didn't realize you go back, he was getting booed a lot
Yeah,
during
bro.
his run. A
Yeah.
lot. Like he was not getting nearly the same
Bro, he
love
went through
as
so
like
many phases.
Shawn Michaels and shit, even though
Yeah.
he was the face of the franchise. And I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, but y'all love this nigga now because this is last
Mm-hmm.
year.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all sad as him. I'm like, it's because of how he was presented. Like
Yeah,
Vince,
bro.
like he had the vision, like he knew John Cena was like that, but he couldn't find a way to make it organic.
Bro, what we were just
Like,
talking about. You could be a great quarterback. If you ain't got the proper coaching, the shit don't go right.
yes.
It don't he had the prospects, he just
But
wasn't coaching them
that's
up
really
the
about
right
because
way.
I see it trying to like, bro, y'all don't see what I see. Like, nah, like Roman, y'all say, I get why you think they're the face of the team. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you got something. You got something going. You
Yeah.
just ain't
I
gotta
think
go about the right
I
way.
think the women's division is at an all time high. I think that they honestly, I think they should get more matches per fucking episode. We only got
Dude,
what
dude,
one match tonight? We only got one.
Dude, it's crazy because I be on wrestler Twitter. What you say is so funny because people be complaining all the time, like, we only get one match. Like women in the
Oh,
wrestling community they be like, bro, what the
yes.
fuck? And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, because dude,
Yeah.
they have a tournament going on for the women's intercontinental championship. It's the inaugural title, like the
Yeah.
mid card title for women,
Mm-hmm.
and the finals. They had the two women who were in the finals. They're just in the crowd. I'm like, y'all could have put them on the show, bro. Y'all could have cut out like two of them
Bro,
nostalgia
they could have had
segments
a
and put that
they
match,
could have
bro.
had a snippet promo, right? They could have did something in the crowd for like the house performance or whatever you want to call it. But the fact that the women are so talented currently and they're still getting limited time doesn't make no sense to me.
Like, dude, if you
This
would
is
told
your
me when
time,
I was
bro.
a
You
kid,
imagine, hear me out, Kobe. Imagine a all women's Royal Rumble.
no, they do have women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and then your period, right? Period after the Royal Rumble, right? The two left standing or the longest left standing, like you can go into next week's like fucking money match or money in the bank or whatever the hell you want to call it. Literally, bro, they could be not milking. I don't. That's a bad term to use. They could be tearing up wrestling as a whole by giving them more TV time and literally letting the people feast on these matches. Because right now you're basically getting drip fed, right? Like, hey, we want to keep you quiet, so we're gonna give you a little tidbit here.
So
Right
you
now
don't
you're
think
gonna get a
this
little
episode was
tidbit
a good
here and a
representation
little.
of that?
No, it was good. I mean, it was a damn good match. You put two
But you're
eight
saying
players
it was
against
just
each other.
one. But I'm saying like,
Yeah,
yeah, like
you
if
could have
you
had
were
at
just a
least. You could have
casual
had.
just watching, you're like,
All right, so tell me,
this is it.
when Rock was talking, right? Rock had like a 20-minute fucking promo. Then there was another
Then he didn't
like,
say nothing. He didn't even say nothing of
yeah,
importance. But
bro. Then
okay.
they had another 15 after him. Then there was like another 10. We wasted like 45 minutes. You could have squeezed in. You could have did Rock shit. You could have went into the
First,
next promo
we
quickly.
did not need that Hulk Hogan promo.
No, Hulk Hogan shit could have got cut. You got almost an hour right there.
And
Even
bro,
if you would have slimmed the promos down, you could have gave yourself 30 minutes. That's a
and,
whole nother
and
match and
dog, I
then some.
timed it from Triple H's intro to the Rock segment to Roman and Solo's entrance. It was 33 minutes. Cut
Why?
some of this shit out, bro.
Why,
Cut
bro?
this shit out, bro.
That
Come
shit
on.
could have been 15 minutes, bro. And then you could have had a whole nother match.
You have this long ass entrance for Travis Scott to bring out Jey Uso. I'm like, my nigga, Travis ain't even got a mic. Just let Jay come out.
Yes,
Just let
bro.
Jay come out, bro. Like, it's just that goofy shit. But if you had just told me as a kid that there would be a women's Royal Rumble, women's Elimination Chamber, women's War Games match, women's Money in the Bank, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of that shit is come to fruition, and a lot of the years they be having a better match of
Yeah.
the two.
I heard,
Like,
well, wasn't it Stephanie? I heard that originally it was Stephanie that started fighting for the women to have more of a role and everything going on. And obviously it's
that's true.
because of all the torment and shit that she suffered at the hands of like the mogul of the business, you know what I mean? The visionary, her father, putting women on the back burner. And then her having to sit through them having talented women on the roster, but not doing nothing with them, and then just slowly tailoring off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I said the women's revolution, it could took place in the 2010s. They had it's really got marked because they had a pay per view of all women. It was called Evolution. So
Mm,
that was really the marker. And then they just see them. They're just able to do matches. They're just treated like regular wrestlers. Like there's only been one main event in WrestleMania with women. It was Bianca and Sasha Banks.
uh,
That's the only one. Now
that's
women
crazy,
ain't
bro.
had a main event since then. But just the fact they had, I would have never thought that was a possibility
Yeah, yeah,
as a
true.
kid. Like
But
you main event WrestleMania, that's
as
crazy.
someone who sees the women's division growing, right? You don't want that to be the only story that's told. Like, hey, 8 years ago they had this great women's match. Like, okay, now we're on year 16 and we still had that one great match, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's like them saying, hey, we hired one black coach back in 1946. Like, okay, bro, it's 2024. It's been 60 years. Give us another one. Like,
Yeah,
change the
and
business
here's
model.
the issue: like they're due for one, especially because it's 2 nights of Mania. They gonna have to give them one soon, like, because yeah, that does look kind of crazy, bro.
bro. It's
because it
wild.
sounds like damn, y'all only got one. Like the
How
women's
many how
evolution
many
been going
women
on
superstars how many women superstars can you name right now that you would want to see
in a
in
main
a
event,
singles match, a doubles match, or like some sort of like triple header?
like in a main event of a Mania.
Yeah, yeah, of a main. I
Like
would
okay,
say probably like what, six, maybe
that like
eight.
main event where Rhea Ripley will get a main event. I think or somewhere. Her star power and
Yeah,
her
yeah,
main
she
work is
yeah.
enough.
Her star power is too much.
Bianca's already done it, so
Hmm.
obviously her. Charlotte Flair has not done it, but she's obviously like she's a four horsewoman, so she would be. Becky Lynch is a four horsewoman, so she would also be in that category. Bailey, a four horsewoman, she would be able to do it. So like, there's enough star power. All they need is just the right storyline with somebody else to do it. I don't
Bro,
know.
and there's no way you're telling me that we can't cook up a storyline to get this shit going. There ain't no way.
They be having it, but they just don't like. Like who was Rhea and Becky last year? They opened Mania, which is fine because when you don't close the show, you want to open the show. But I'm like, y'all
Nah,
can
bro,
do
you want
more.
to close, bro. It's just
Yeah,
like them.
obviously you want to close, but like,
It's like
bro,
them OG. It's like them OG fucking the ciphers, right? You don't want to be the first dude on the cipher. You want to be the last dude because
but
those bars
dude,
are
last year was extraneous circumstances with The Rock. That speaking of which, what do you make of The Rock's presence as
very.
member of the TKO board and just
So,
his what he did today? You think he did anything worthwhile, worth mentioning?
no, I don't think he did anything worth mentioning today. I mean, but honestly, like this was more of a visual treat for him, right? Because if you take into context the fact that like if you take into context, right, he's was like the next main Samoan wrestler to elevate wrestling, right? And coming from watching his dad and them do the thing and be the only ones around and having like family trickled in and out of the ring to be the one that like then raises the fucking bar. Because let's not sugarcoat it, bro. He was one of, if not the um top stars of that era, right? I would say that like I would say Generation X, I would say Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I would say The Rock are what
And, and
carried the Attitude Era.
and I'll go like some further. It's beyond just this. I would say he's on the short list of most famous people on the planet.
Yes, yes.
Like I
Also that,
can't
right?
name five more famous. Like
Yeah,
who
because
we talking about? Kim Jong Un, Trump. Like there's not many people more famous than
yeah,
The
bro.
Rock.
Like, and
It's not.
legitimately, he transitioned out of wrestling into film, and it wasn't horrible. Like you can make fun of like the Fast movies, but that's not all he's ever done. Like he's had some slip ups here and there in terms of like film. Like I'll never forgive him for that fucking shitty Doom movie. But other than that, like he's done so many other films and they've been super successful. So it's not like he's ever really like truly floundered. You know what I mean? Like, bro, he's the a star in Disney movies. Like,
Yeah, he's a But I'm
that's,
like, but
bro, he got
his
different
presence though
motion.
today is just like
No, yes, today
it was
was
very this was very annoying
today was
because
lackluster,
okay
but it,
okay like what he did like first of all last year's Mania, it was
mhm,
his ass that made that shit so messy and how they have to clean up how to fix
nah,
it. It was his
he getting
fault.
too he's getting too old, bro. He can't be in the ring. Like you can be he could be an assist, right? Like Paul Heyman almost. But he as far as being like the main star, bro, he there's no way you're not telling me his body ain't blown up. You know what I mean? Because even from the gym and everything, yeah, he still keeps it together. It looks presentable and nice. But at the same time, bro, this man took chair shots like no tomorrow, bro. And I remember all the years of Triple H putting that fucking knee in between the crossings of a steel chair, stomping on it, flexing on it, jamming on it, grabbing the ropes, and like, you know what I mean? Back
Yeah, like
shots he was
I
taking with the
agree
fucking
with you
things.
physically.
Pause.
He physically he's not. Like that doesn't make sense. But this
Yeah.
nigga put himself in this position. After Mania last year, there was a segment with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
said, I'm coming back for this title.
Yeah.
Nobody told this nigga to say that. Then just in October, he showed up after a Roman and Cody match, and he basically hinted that he was still coming for it. Then today, you come and you're hugging Cody Rhodes. Do you think the audience is stupid? You think we're not gonna complain? Like this doesn't make sense story
Yeah, but
wise.
you heard what he told him at the end, right? He said, "Tell Mama Rose I said what's up." Like he's still taking digs at the dude. You didn't hear that part?
I I seen the nigga on IG Live taking shots at Cody Rhodes, Devontae. Did you see that part
But I mean,
on the Rock's IG? You can see. You're gonna see the clip on your timeline. That don't
yeah,
make
yeah,
sense.
it'll hit.
That don't make
But
sense.
I think that most of it, what he did today, was like a little bit of Triple H's way of saying thank you for all the shit that he helped stir it up and bring back. You know what I mean? Because regardless with him and Cena, right? You can say the same thing about Cena. Cena being gone, it sucked when he left, right? But he transitioned into movies and he started doing so well. Fucking Peacemaker is one of the most famous anti-heroes in the world right now. Everybody loves that show. Everybody's hanging on the fucking cliff waiting for season 2 to drop. Like Cena's star power is at a high right
But
now
but
too.
but okay, there's a John Cena on the right. John Cena don't be half-ass doing it. He said multiple times, "I'm here full time for this last run." And nigga did the press
No, yeah,
conference
yeah,
after the episode today.
yeah.
He
That's
don't
the
push. He
problem.
don't half-ass nothing.
That's the problem with The Rock, though. Is like he's so much everywhere that
He
how
be
can he
in and
be
out like,
anywhere
can
for
I
full
show me
time?
this? Let me do this. Let me do that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
no,
He's a dabbler, bro, and it's not because he's dabbling in a bad way, but it's just because he has so much going on at all times. He has a foot in the door everywhere, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. In this case, it's very much a bad thing. Like I said, I
man.
thought today was
Mind
just a
you,
layup for him mostly.
he left last time experience. He was a heel. You can't come back and now you give
Not
us
a
a
heel.
baby
Yeah, yeah,
face
yeah, yeah, yeah,
promo.
yeah.
Like, what do you?
He should honestly still be a heel because I thought that he was at his best when he was a
Nothing
fucking
about
heel
his
in wrestling, bro.
nothing about his character says babyface. Like, it wouldn't even be believable if he tried to be a babyface
Yeah,
because of
no,
what his hat,
no.
especially with him being on the board of TKO. Like, bro, no, nobody would buy
Yeah.
it. But he did say he's gonna be on NXT tomorrow
So we'll
because
see.
obviously his daughter is the GM at NXT, so I get it. But
Yeah.
I'll see what he does in that aspect.
Yeah,
Um,
this was just a layup to pay homage to the previous things that happened in his career, and I think it was a way for Triple H to just uplift the dude and like give him a little bit of props, right? Because the whole segment was really about him giving praise to his mom and that, giving praise to his dad, giving praise to his family, and then we cycled out. Hey, look, it is what it is,
bloodline,
dog.
bloodline. The
It is what it is.
Ulafala, Anoa'i family, the royal family of wrestling. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
50 cousins.
yeah.
Like, enough. God damn.
55 probably.
Like that, and then all this the dick riding that they doing for themselves. Like, oh my gosh, it's the hottest wrestler ever been. We get it, nigga. Damn. Get to this shit, bro. All these commercials and shit. That's my big annoyance. Like, this better not be a regular thing.
No, I don't think it'll be a regular thing at all. I just think it was the first, and he probably so happened to be in town. So Triple H hit up that line and was like, "Hey, look, you mind coming in tomorrow and do it?" Because look, the convenience of him already being here for the Golden Globes. His family and shit was already in town, so it was a
Yeah.
one quick call. Like, "Hey, look, can you do this?" "Ain't no problem, brother. I'll be there tomorrow." Like, all right, cool. What are we gonna do? Well, here, I'm gonna give you 15 minutes. You take over, do what you do, get the people going. All right. Well, who do I come after? Well, I'm gonna start it off. You're gonna follow right behind me. Okay, got you. That's that one too.
I guess the feels is like, like when you're an avid watcher or something, it's like the Super Bowl. Like they did
Yeah.
so much hype about the show. I get you have to appeal to a casual audience. But dog, even WrestleMania was not as annoying with some of the ads and shit they was doing, bro. Like I get you gotta appeal to a casual audience and do things you don't normally do. Fine. But it was a bit overboard. I'm like, can we get this is still episode of Raw, y'all. Like, can I
No,
get
bro,
some
it was
some
still
more some
long-winded
segments?
for
Come on,
sure.
man.
Yeah,
All
it
right,
was
come on,
long-winded
y'all.
for sure. I would say, yeah, I would say that was probably one of my the dislikes of it was just like there was more matches we could have squeezed in there, but we didn't get as many as we thought we were gonna get, especially for a 3-hour segment. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? 5 to 8, bro. We sat from five to
Three,
eight, and we
and you
only
gave
got
us four matches.
four
Four matches.
matches and only one women's match, bro. Like,
Four
what?
matches. And
I'm complaining.
bro, we only had two bangers.
Yes,
Two
that's
bangers
true.
out of four matches. So I'm like,
And one of those bangers was what? The women's
the
match. You
women's
see
match,
what I'm saying?
yes.
So it's like, what are we doing, bro? We gotta
Uh,
start pumping. Like 3 hours didn't used to get wasted like this. Like I remember and it's the old me talking. I remember Raw starting, and it literally would be fucking Stone Cold driving up to the stadium in a fucking beer truck, or he's pulling up in a fucking truck with hunting gear on, pops out the truck. This motherfucker's got a bat and a bow and arrow, and he's looking for people. Like, we used to start off
Yeah.
on
Okay.
a
That was what was
on
gonna
a
say. Okay.
high.
Yeah. We had promos with Triple H and Rock, which I'm not counting. Them was commercials.
Yeah,
Hulk
yeah, yeah.
Hogan shit, that was
Over
commercial too.
commercials.
The only real promo we got was John Cena. The rest were backstage segments and vignettes.
Yeah, yeah.
Like my
Oh, and
nigga.
don't forget the pass off for the video game. Don't forget that. They did a little snippet while he was walking down the
Oh
hallway
yeah,
for
bro. Yeah.
2K25,
But
boy.
I'm like, for example, the world champion of Raw, Gunther, has a vignette. Why is this nigga not here? This is the premier Netflix and your world champion. Is not here. He just does a vignette. That don't make sense to me.
I don't know, bro.
They easily could have had him interrupt John Cena. It would have made perfect sense.
1000%. 1000%.
I just
They
they
could have
need
had
to done shit
anybody
with over.
interrupt John Cena,
I
and it would
thought
have made
Logan
sense
Paul
more
was
sense.
going to interrupt the nigga.
Yeah, yeah. That
He
would
was
have made
there.
even more
Logan Paul
sense.
was there in the crowd.
That would have made even more sense, which is crazy that he was in the crowd and just quiet after his whole fucking snippet promo was the fact that he doesn't do what he's told and he's never been about sitting behind anybody else and I just do what I want and I've always been ahead of the curve and blah blah blah. Insert Logan Paul bullshit.
He's lucky he's fire. Like, and it's so annoying that he's so good.
Is he? Is he? Because I haven't watched.
Bro,
I
I would
can't
have
watch
to.
a single match. It fucking bothers me. It bothers
It
my
will make you,
soul.
man. It will
It
make you
bothers my
so
soul.
mad. But the nigga is so. I think he's only had like 10 matches. But you watch, like, bro, there's no way he's just good. Like, yes, he's really that good, bro.
Well, I mean, he was never not athletic. That was never fucking
But
on
bro,
his
it's not
on his
just.
sheet.
It's just not the athleticism. It's just like if you just watch a match, you're like, hold on, like you would be in like the S tier, like the whole roster if you
Oof.
was
Yeah,
here every
no.
week. That's how crazy it is. I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's a reason why we can't do that because we can't have that. We can't have that. That can't be allowed. Period. Not in my wrestling. Not on my watch. Not in this day and age. Nah, that
Like
ain't
people
my
are like,
wrestling.
we don't even people don't even consider him a celebrity wrestler no more.
He's just a wrestler. Nah, puke
That's
him out,
really
bro. Puke him out.
it's really crazy. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, I'm like I can see him being a world champ. If he's there full time, he's gonna get a world title.
Please no. For the love of
Hey,
God.
bro, it made me sick too. But here we are, bro. Here we
For the
are,
love
bro.
of God, no, bro. Like, don't throw me out the window like this. You know what I mean? Like, there's better things for us to do with our time than to have to go through
Mm.
that. And I feel like we can find better ways of utilization than that. That just
But it's like
seems like
obviously the
not a great time.
outside shit is why he's just a natural heel. And
Yeah,
like
bro,
him being
because he's a
babyface
fucking
is
he's not an idiot. You know what I mean? Like you can say what you want. Like he may be fucking you may think he's a jackass. He's a jackass for sure. But an idiot, no. If anything, Logan Paul knows how to get a crowd fucking going. And again, to the old adage of Vince McMahon, when you come out and people fucking boo you, you got the heat.
oh,
He
okay.
knows how to drum up heat. Always.
One more question about this premiere. A lot of people assume because it was moving to Netflix that it would warrant a more mature rating, like
Yeah.
and be more reminiscent of the Attitude Era. They're expecting more raunchy shit. Do you think they should go in that direction or the way it
So
is
I
at the
think it's gonna
moment?
be like I think it could be one of two ways, right? How I see it. One, they can never, ever, ever truly go back to the Attitude Era. That shit is dead. They can dabble around, they can allude to, they can kind of stick their pinky toe into that water, but that water is forever tainted by the fact that when you think of Attitude Era, what do you think of? You think of all the shit that went wrong and all the evil things that happened outside of the ring because of the Vince McMahon documentary, all that work and shit that happened. You think about all the deaths and everything that's just taking place from like injury standpoints, both mental and physical. Like there's no way they can fully commit to going back in that direction. Now, granted, there is space in that statement. Like there's a gray area there. You know what I mean? You don't have to hit Attitude Era pinnacles, but you don't. You can bypass some of the lows if that makes sense. You don't got to shoot through the house. You ain't got to go through the roof, but you can get a little bit towards the ceiling.
Like when I say attitude
There's
era, I'm
way
like, do y'all
there's way to
mean
wiggle.
y'all mean y'all want niggas to cuss more? Y'all want it to be more
Yeah, what is it? What does the
adultish?
attitude mean
Like,
to you? Because the attitude to me was like the I don't give a fuck about hierarchy era, right? That's what it was to me. It was like we don't care that you're our boss. We're about to fuck you up, Vince. We catch you in the back room or we're fucking out doing whatever. It's on site, right? Or I got beef with so and so, right? The Rock and fucking Stone Cold walking past each other and you fucking nudge me. Oh, you nudge me? Okay, well, let's start this shit right here, right now. Like, that's what the Attitude Era meant to me. Like, we were gonna go back and forth, and there was no backing down. Now, to some people, the Attitude Era was all about the degradation of women, right? Like, oh shit. Or like that's what the Attitude Era meant. Was like, oh, we're gonna see a bra and panties match, or they were gonna do the fucking lingerie matches or whatever it was, bro. That shit is not coming to Netflix, dog. Little kids are on this platform watching Bluey, bro. There's
it,
no
and
way.
dog, okay, and like we're saying, like the peak of popularity. I'm saying, do you think they were be able to get this many advertisements, like this level of where they at? And
Also,
also, we
yes,
talking about the good, like wrestlers are getting paid more than ever. They don't have to work
yes.
nearly as much.
Yeah, no, no,
You
no, bro. What
maybe
do they say
it's because of how profitable it has gotten.
bro? What did they say? They said that like in the McMahon thing, he said they were
He used to
working.
wrestle over 300 days a year.
Bro, yes, they used to over 300 days a year they were wrestling, right? Then from that, he said they went into like basically 7 month contracts. Like you'd only have to work 7 months out of the year. And your days, like you got like there was like big events that would like you would have to be attendance to, but then even in that there was like different markers you could hit. It was like football incentives almost, right? Like if you get 1,000 yard rushing, you don't have to go to the playoffs. If you pass for 60 touchdowns, you don't have to go to the Pro Bowl. Like they had built in a bunch of let's call it
Yeah,
safety nets for wrestlers so that they weren't stuck dealing with the previous bout of both injuries and or like issues that arose from the fact that they were on the road so much at all times. And I don't mind that, bro, because like if you want if you want proper entertainment, you have to give your stars time to materialize proper entertainment, right? We can even equate this all the way to like the Marvel movies to make it more like palpable for people, right? If I'm flooding you with a Marvel TV show 365 days a year, how much Marvel do you want to see the next year? Zero, bro. You don't want to see none. I'm burnt on this
and
shit.
bro, they scale back house shows like to a crazy amount.
Yeah, like
And
I don't.
and bro, even like in this era we have with like house shows, niggas record everything. So
Yes,
I'm like,
yeah,
it's like
exactly.
this house show be all up
You're gonna
on
get
me. I'm
yourself
like,
into trouble on a whole nother level, bro. And you've seen the sponsors that are bringing in, bro. We're talking about million to $1 billion sponsors, bro. The mat today, the center logo was what?
yeah, what's your favorite beer? Yeah. Hmm?
No, 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 no. Fortnite, bro.
Okay.
Fortnite. Fortnite was the sponsor of today's fucking whole broadcast, right? Like Fortnite, right in the middle of the fucking map, as big as you can get it. Fortnite. Who plays Fortnite, Kobe? Little
Yeah.
kids.
Yep.
Little kids. We
So
ain't
it's
getting no
just
naked
certain
matches no
things
time
like
soon, Chief.
you're just not gonna get that. And also,
Yeah,
I do feel like just me personally, when I'm watching stuff, I don't need you to cuss every month. So when y'all do cuss,
it
it hits
adds,
hard. It
yes,
hits
it
hard.
adds
Like
element to it.
you're like, oh, this is a serious movie. When you overload every week, because we talk about the Attitude Era, not
Yes,
just the shift, but the Attitude Era. It did not last 20. It was a 5 year period.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. It
People,
was
I don't
not
know if
20
people
some
think
years.
the Attitude Era was like a decade. It's like no, it was just a short. It was a short period.
Yeah,
Why? Because you're doing 2 weekly shows weekly.
yes.
You're going to run out of shit to do. You can't top everything
No.
that you done
And they
did.
were
Like,
trying to, bro, we literally went from lingerie matches and fucking crazy ass promos. We had Vince McMahon get beat up in the fucking hospital, right?
Yeah.
A Stone Cold pretending to be a fucking night nurse. We had Stone Cold in the fucking Budweiser beer truck, right? We had like
Oh
Vince
shit, yeah.
McMahon get blown up in a fucking limousine. We
Okay,
had
wait,
yeah,
right there. Can
yeah,
stop that limousine because that's ruthless aggression. That's the era that I really grew up watching week to week. I feel like the
okay,
reason why they did so much crazy shit is because it was following the Attitude Era. You
yeah,
then pretty
and they
much
had to do it.
did like a bunch of funny shit, like a bunch of crazy. Now you're like, let me think of how. Let me think outside the box.
Bro,
That's where you get them
exactly.
weird ass storylines like fucking dead people and like no like assault and like shit still like battling
Bro,
God and
Mark
like a
Henry and
bunch.
Marvelous May,
Yeah,
like shit like that, bro.
you get
It
that
was
because you're trying to do too much.
yes, bro, because they ran out, bro. Kobe, I remember specifically that they were doing this whole. I don't know if you remember this shit. They were doing this whole thing where Ken Shamrock. I don't even know if it was his real sister, but Ken Shamrock had a sister named Ryan. Okay, her name was Ryan Shamrock, and they were doing this whole beef thing between. It was like a three-way beef between Ken Shamrock, um, Will Blackman, right? Because Ken Shamrock had came over from UFC or Pride Fighting, whatever it was at the time. He came over to fucking wrestling, and his thing was like, I was a real fighter. This is like chump change to me. You know what I mean? And Will Blackman was considered a real black belt, like martial artist. And so his thing was he was a real fighter, right? And then on the other side of the ring, you had fucking Val Venus, who was a misogynistic fucking a ladies man, a womanizer, bro. Yes, yes. Val Venus coming out, baby oiled up, bro, in a fucking half towel showing mid thigh, talking about hello,
like
ladies.
bro,
And
like Val Venus, the Godfather, the whole train. I
bro,
I grew up Edge and Lita had a live sex celebration. Like my
brother,
nigga, like we don't need and obviously okay. You see you talking about how the women are just very good at wrestling and shit. They don't need to do anything for y'all to think they sexy. Rhea and Liv did not do anything,
no,
and people are gonna be drooling over everything they did.
brother,
Just
there's
off
I
rip. You don't
guarantee
need to
you,
do nothing.
if I pull up Twitter right now, there's 49 zoomed in photos of Rhea Ripley pinning fucking what's her name to the fucking mat, right?
Yeah,
Or like when she gave her the her fucking finisher, or like eyes that they gave each other when she tried to rip her or tried to flip her over the outside the ropes, right? And they were
yeah.
looking at each other's eyes, bro. There's like 12,000 fanfic pages being written right now about
Yeah.
that relationship across the internet and Reddit and everywhere else. So
So you don't
there's
need
no
to
way.
do
Yeah,
crazy shit to
yeah,
make the women appear like
bro.
sexual
We are
creatures.
we
Like, come
are
on.
men as a society. You could be walking around in a nun outfit and we'll call it sexy. It does not matter, bro. If you got aura, you got aura, and we're gonna fuck with it. Period.
Hey, thank you. This is what I'm saying. Like, I get people are very nostalgic about the era, and I
Yeah,
get,
but that
and
that
that's why
portion of the era is dead, bro.
niggas was kept on doing. That's why I get they brought out Undertaker, brought out Hulk Hogan, and something like my nigga.
Yeah,
Enough,
no. Another
enough,
thing I
bro.
think people are underestimating is the fact that Stephanie is around now. She's never gonna let that shit come back. You know what I mean? Because regardless of what we may think about the era, you got to understand that shit was traumatizing to her. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about family trauma that's being stirred up every time that shit is brought up.
Like, bro,
So,
last year when Vince did that fuck shit to get back in, and she stepped
oh
down like shortly
yeah, bro.
after, I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, she doesn't fuck with that, and nor should she first and foremost, right? But you gotta remember she had to watch women of great wrestling talent and fucking capability and the ability to be charismatic on a microphone and rule a crowd be turned docile, dumbed down, and shoved into a box because they didn't fit the narrative of what was going on, or they had to be viewed as just sex symbols and not wrestlers. So now that she's finally broken those girls out of that mold,
We
now that
never
they're
going
finally
back.
free, yeah, no, but we're
Going
not
back.
going back.
Because
And
we
I'm
got
okay
we
with
got
that. Like, you got to
we got
evolve. You know
decades
what I mean? We're not going back to that
we got
shit.
decades to make up for. And like we had Michelle McCool in the audience. People always mention her like she was ahead of her time, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, she is like 5, 7 years too early.
Too early. Yeah,
Because bro,
bro.
she entered the Rumble like she's one of those cameo people. She was just in the crowd last year. She hopped over. She had Uggs, and she was still hooping in the Rumble. I'm like, damn, hold on.
And
Like,
Uggs.
yeah, I'm like, wait, hold up. Like, she could probably still wrestle. She felt like it.
Yeah.
And
For
my
real,
like,
for
she
real.
was just like the teacher character. Like, obviously, she's married to Undertaker, so like he always be singing her praises. She like, damn, like she would have so many classics if she was in this era. And
Oh,
that's sad. You can say that about a bunch of people. Like Trish and Lita had a little run last year. Trish, she
bro.
had her first steel cage match. Like you wasn't putting women in those steel cage matches.
Yeah, hell no.
Like she
Not
was in a
back in the day. If
she
she
was in
was
a
in a
money
steel
in a
cage,
bank. She was in a money in a bank match. That's it. She
bro.
never been in no
If she was
ladder
in the
match.
steel cage, she would have been the fucking the ring number chick in the steel cage.
Yeah.
She'd have been walking around with a sign. She'd have been in bra and
Yeah.
panties, and that would have been the extent of her involvement
Yeah.
in the steel cage. Like we had this whole era of women that were talented but got wasted. So I
And
don't
no,
ever want to see
and
us
dude,
go back
Trish
to
was
an era where we
still
do that.
hooping. She
Oh
was in her
yeah, she
late 40s. She was still so imagine Trish in her 20s and
Bro,
30s.
yeah.
What
The
she could have
first thing
been doing.
Stephanie McMahon said, bro, when they started talking about women in the era was that she knew so many women that were better wrestlers than the men, but they were never going to get their chance to shine. And she's never going to let that happen again. Nor should she, bro. What's the first thing I complained about today? The fact that we only got so many women's matches because there are so many talented wrestlers there, and you want to see that shit go down. I want to see all the fucking smoke. I want to see it all play out. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Rhea. I like seeing her matches because she can fucking ball. But I want to see everybody ball. I want to see everybody get their chance at the limelight. I want to see all the shit. Let me see firsthand why or why not you're not getting the proper time you deserve. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I feel like they really dropped the ball because in that finals that they have next week for the Intercontinental title, one of the women is Dakota Kai, and she's like a streamer too. So I'm like, you don't think this is a good opportunity? Just
Brother,
like just the
why?
crossover fan base is like, bro, come on, man.
I get it.
Lyra, like NXT to Raw, like best rookie besides Tiffany. And also Tiffany, you don't have her talk. I guess she's on SmackDown, but I'm like, bro, like y'all can like this is Raw on Netflix. Like there's a chance to push and elevate motherfuckers a
Boundaries.
little
Yeah.
bit. Come on.
Push, push, push. Bro, because I'm telling you, like, we've had multiple discussions, but like there are so many women that are in wrestling in some capacity that need to get more spotlight and pushed up to the big leagues. And there are other women that definitely need to go down.
Yeah.
And
And
I
then just
think
watching these big ass commercials and promos that are commercials in my eyes. I get I get it, but I'm like, cut some of this shit out, bro.
yeah,
Now,
it's a lot.
I think it'll be back to business after this, but just just on the first, maybe I was expecting too much, but that shit just
No,
annoyed me. That's all.
I don't think it's a lot. I think it's reasonable to expect a lot from the fact that we had the first Raw on fucking Netflix, and we thought we were gonna get more.
Y'all been talking
Now,
about the
am I
shit for
saying it was
months.
horrible? No, it wasn't horrible by any means. I thought it was damn good. But I would still, that doesn't take away from the fact that I still would like more from it
But
going
I'm saying,
forward.
if that Raw you just watched, say it was just a random week, it wasn't like a premiere, would you be more critical of what you watch? Would you be
Um,
what is like? Say next week they had like a similar type of show where you'd be like, all right, y'all.
yeah, I would be more critical next week for sure.
Y'all
For
be like,
sure. If we only get like, because next week we're probably not even getting a women's match, right? So like,
no, it's
you
gonna be
already
the
know I'm gonna
final.
have
No,
something to
no,
say.
no, it's gonna be the finals for the
Okay, okay, okay.
Intercontinental.
So
So like, yeah.
so then they'll probably get a pass from me because we're gonna get to see some people hoop.
And
But at the
okay,
same time, it's like if we're talking about a random fucking Monday 5 weeks from now, and we're still on the same fucking, we're still fishing in the same fishing hole with the same bait and the same bowl, I'm gonna be upset, bro. Because I'm like, all right, like, are we pushing the boundary? Are we going forward? Or are we on a rinse and repeat? You know what I mean? Process. Because
and
it's literally what you said, right? Each night in the process throughout the year is supposed to be a one uppings, right? We're supposed to start the You start the year off in sort of what eventually becomes a crescendo. We're going to
Yeah, so
start off real
this is
low,
like the season
and we have to
premiere.
work our way up to that peak. So
Yeah, this is the
that's
season
fine
premiere for
for yeah,
WrestleMania season. So
yes,
that's why my
yeah,
expectations were high. I'm like, okay. And I was talking about Triple H earlier. Maybe that's why people online, including me, are more higher on Shawn Michaels, who books NXT for a couple reasons. One, his men's division is pretty ass, so I'm not
yeah.
gonna blame him for that shit. But his women's division NXT is crazy.
No,
Like the women in NXT, they have a better roster. I'm dead ass. They have a better roster than Raw does in
no,
women, which
bro.
is fucking crazy.
You already know who I'm gonna say. Who I'm gonna say, Kobe.
Jada,
Yeah, 1000%,
Jada, and she has it all, so she
bro.
probably will
And
get called
why?
up too.
Like this, my mind right is like I'm pulling the hat off because I'm getting stressed. Okay, like I don't understand, bro. We're talking about era of women that could be dominant, bro. You want to talk about athletic? You want to talk about good on the mic? You want to talk about easy on the eyes? Everything, star
Everything.
power, the mouth, the attitude. She's got the figure, and I'm not just talking about like a full figured woman. She has she has the build to be one of those top tier wrestlers, like we talked about with Rhea, right? Imagine her and fucking Rhea going at each other, bro. Rhea doesn't have to pull her punches because Jada's a thicker woman that could take the physical abuse of the ring. Whereas, like, you've seen the difference between her finisher on Dominic versus her finisher on what's her name?
Live.
She has to pull up on Liv a little bit because she's such a smaller stature woman. If she goes full force on Liv, bro, that's like
You're
a
injuring her.
grown man slamming you. You're fucked. Yeah, you're getting injured, and then now you're out for portions of the year. Now, what are we gonna do with our storyline? You know what I mean? But someone like Jada, bro, that's the easiest money. This is the easiest fumble that is currently taking place in wrestling is the fact that she's not moved up yet.
No, there's somebody who's even more ready. You'll probably, I don't know, girl, but Roxanne Perez,
No, I've
she
seen Roxanne Perez. I've seen little snippets of her.
she's like just a walking banger match, banger match, banger match, and she's hella young. I think she's only like 23 or some shit. But
Bro,
like she been a champion for like a whole year straight, just nothing but banger match. She's on a smaller side, but I'm like
but I
she
mean,
needs to be called up.
we made it work with Liv, right? If you can make
Yeah,
it work with Liv, it's not like you can't make it work.
no,
And we've made it work with smaller women
there's like
before.
five of them that I read. Like So Ruka, she could move up.
Soul
Honestly,
Ruka can she can ball.
she could hoop. There's these
Yep.
two that are like known outside of like America, like Stephanie Vacker and Julia, who got put in NXT just to get used to America and like how
Mm,
WWE people fight. But they're gonna get moved up soon. But Sean has all these women and he books them accordingly. Nobody ever complains about lack of women wrestling or segments because he
yeah.
books them like all equally. Like the only complaints I see with the women's division is yo girl Nikita getting screen time, and they're like, bro, enough with this shit.
Yeah, man. Oh,
Because like I'm saying,
bro.
like the sex appeal shit, that's cool, that's good and eyes, but everybody got sex appeal and they can hoop.
Yeah,
So you
that's
can't.
look, and that's just it, right? We're at a point now where, like, back in the day, sex appeal was all you needed to get you over the hump and get you extra screen time. But the women's division is so stacked beyond belief. You have to have talent. You got to be good on the mic. You have to be able to cut promos. You have to be believable. Like, you have to have like gusto to your character. And then the easy on the eye shit is just the cherry on the top, bro. It's just
Yeah,
the cherry on the top. Cause Liv is cute, but she's not like otherworldly beautiful, right? And like
yeah,
she still gets the time because you can hoop in the ring, she can get on the mic, she makes it believable. Like that, there's so much more to it now that you have to bring to the table.
and then
Nikita
just
is
like
slowly
pretty
falling off,
privilege
bro.
can, yeah, pretty
Look,
privilege can
I don't
help,
even
but
watch wrestling, and I question Nikita's commitment to wrestling because every time I fucking see her, she's cutting a commercial for like, oh, she's got a new fragrance coming out. Oh, she's doing new
she
T-shirts.
got an
Oh,
album, man.
yeah, she got an album, brother. What are we doing? How
And
you
bro,
got time to be in the
she
studio,
tore her
but you ain't
ACL multiple
rehabbing?
times, man. Tore both of them things.
Hey, look,
She
I
younger
seen
than
Willis
me and got
McGahee come
two
out.
knee braces, man.
I seen Willis McGahee come out and get some get back. Okay, so she can make a comeback if she wants to. The question is, how dedicated are you to the comeback? Because it feels like she got a
Dude,
snippet of her star
I
power, and then she ain't worried about it no more. That's what it
I
feels
get
like.
the injury thing. Obviously, it will halt anybody's momentum, but just beyond that, like on the mic when she talks, like it just annoys me personally. Like when she talks and backstage, I'm like, do you
She's
really
not
talk
great.
like that?
Yeah,
Like I get
she's
she
not
from
great,
Bad
bro.
Girls Club and shit, so maybe you really do talk like that. But like when a
Is she from
non-black
Bad
person,
Girls Club?
yes. So when you see her post like that, don't like think have that in mind. It might not be Bad Girls, it might be one of them other reality shows, but in that vein. So I'm like, when I see, I'm like, when she talks to them, I'm like, are you putting on a black scent or like what
Nah,
is
she really
this?
talks like that. Her
Then like
man
I
is black.
can't picture her like doing a back and forth with somebody
No,
and
no,
me
no.
believing it.
Her man is of our skin tone,
Was
so
she
it's
also a
not.
wrestler?
Nah, nah,
Okay.
nah, nah. I think he's like a basketball player or some shit. But he's not. He's not like a fucking NBA player. I think he was like. I think he was like in the Europe League or some shit like that. I forget. But I've seen him a couple times on some of the shit that she posts, and I'm like, it's always the same dude. So if you're seeing the same guy consistently, I'm pretty sure they're in some sort of relationship somewhere or some forth. But I just
Like, bro, she been in NXT since I think 2022, where they put her over Lash Legend inexplicably. But how realistically, how long should somebody be in NXT to you're like, nah, man,
it
like you
doesn't
ain't
have
got
much
it.
longer, bro, because you
Like,
got to think about it like this
yeah.
too. She's already like torched both knees. Like she before she when she first got in, I think she already had a knee injury that she was dealing with, right? I think when she first came in, because she already had a brace when like the videos I've seen of her signing her contract, she already had a brace on her leg. So she was already dealing with rehab. Then she got in and she hurt the same knee she was rehabbing. And okay, so she rehabbed that one. She came back and you seen the fall where they tried to do too much and not even jump. It wasn't even doing too much. It was just that she was in an awkward position. Old buddy came off the top rope, kicked her in the back. Her leg didn't the other leg didn't take, and then boom. Now all of a sudden you're fucked. You know what I mean? Now the other leg is done for. And she still had to fucking wrestle, but you're hobbling around on it, you know what I mean? Knowing exactly what happened. And I think that in itself is a
That's gonna fuck you up mentally as an athlete,
yeah,
just in
it's
general.
a testament to the fact that like okay, as somebody who's suffered through sports injuries, right? The first thing the doctors talk to you about is when you're rehabbing one side of your body, because one side gets injured. For me, the first time I ever got injured is my right shoulder, right? Tore my rotator cuff. They're like, you got two options. You can have surgery, but you're gonna lose range of motion, but you'll come back sooner. I'm like, well, I don't fucking want to lose range of motion. What's my other option? They're like, physical therapy. It's gonna hurt, it's gonna take longer, but you can build the muscle up stronger, and then hopefully it won't happen. Because what was wrong was that when you tear a rotator cuff, it's usually because one of your shoulder muscles is stronger than the other ones. So when you land a certain way or you slam into something a certain way, that muscle overcompensates, right? And your other muscle isn't strong enough to hold it in place. She spent all of her time rehabbing the
Rehabbing one
same
knee,
leg for
and
fucking
then
4
you come back. Yeah,
and then you come back and that left leg ain't as strong. And then all of a sudden, someone fucking kicks you and your fucking foot's extended the wrong way. Boom, there goes the leg. It's the same shit. Same thing, bro.
and dude, I was just talking about the talent. If you did like a top 10, just NXT women on the roster, I don't think niggas will put Nikita in the top 10, bro.
Nah, you
On the
wouldn't.
mic or in the ring or a combination. And
No.
that is alarming.
If you had to rank them, if you had to rank them competitively from 1 to 10, right? And you put the women of NXT up there, I don't think she makes the top 10 in the ring or outside of it. Because not only that, but like with the injuries, right? Like she's moving a little bit rougher around the ring because now you're second guessing your movements because one, you've been hurt multiple times in the ring, right? So you're second guessing your movements, but you're trying not to. As well as the fact is you're trying to limit your movements in a way that keeps you protected, right? Because she had a fucking knee brace on, bro, or a leg brace on when she fucked up the other one.
Like,
So
bro,
it's
I
like,
think the real telltale sign they might not call like NXT motherfuckers up yet, which is kind of dumb because we just had a fucking premiere. It's a
yeah,
3 hour show, call niggas up, bro. Like
Yeah.
enough with the shit. That's one. Second, during the Rumble, they usually have some of the NXT call ups as cameos. I know for
Oh
damn sure she's not touching that Rumble, and
no,
she
she
better
can't.
not touch. Like you can't roll no motherfucker out. Like we're at Lucas Oil Stadium for the Rumble, bro. You can't roll.
Hey, home of the combine. How many of you are drafting a running back with two bad knees? Who's drafting a running back with two bad knees?
like exactly, but
Nah,
just
bro.
saying, just saying to say, Shawn Michaels know what he doing with his women. Triple H just needs to catch up.
I
That's
mean,
it.
Shawn Michaels, he's got Instagram goggles on at all times. My guy is he's the IG god right now.
I don't like him, but yeah, thank you for your service.
Hey, yes,
You
sir.
did good. Oops. Good.
Appreciate you,
Oops.
Pippin. Catch you on the
For
next one.
sure. For sure.
Yes, sir.
I'll be locked in all these playoffs.